everyone. This is the Integral Life Practice uh, review of the book, and this is Chapter 9, Living Your Life as Practice. And I'm Larry O'Connor, and so I'm going to give you an overview of this chapter. Uh, it starts, this is, again, this is about how this really applies in everyday life. We've covered four major modules. We've talked a little bit about some other modules, but this is where we start to really bullet out the rest of the world beyond the four major core modules. And so in that, we're going to take a tour of all these different modules with the idea in mind that there's always more modules that we can label as such as we experience them in our lives. But this will be a nice set of bullets to get an idea of where the rest of them might come from, though it's pretty exhaustive. And then there's a section on using the integral framework in our daily life, and a particular section on parenting, which, as I'm not a parent, but I can read, and so I've did my notes for that, for those who are. And then there is also a section on affirmations as a power tool for actualizing desired changes. And then a short note at the end about quote unquote practicing perfection. So with that in mind, I'm going to begin explaining my notes here, my Larry's Cliff Notes. And at any point we can stop, and I'll probably stop after the first section just to let anybody jump in, and then we'll continue and go for the balance of the hour. So with that in mind, so we have living your life as practice, and this is in terms of relationships, work, parenting, creativity, and other additional modules. So the first thing they do is talk about the flesh and bones of integral life practice. So integral life practice involves a conscious orientation to the many states of life as they flow through us. Practicing during life requires intentionality and commitment to living consciously. It's the opposite of being on automatic pilot. Every area of life is a place to practice, and there are an unlimited number of modules from that standpoint. Okay, so I kind of touched on that earlier. So in general, the core modules focus on the top two quadrants. Most of the additional modules focus on the bottom two quadrants. That's an interesting twist. Growth and development is expressed in your social life and relational life. So all practice is a matter of bringing awareness and care to every moment of life, and no moment is unimportant. So we're talking about being present here for what's going on. So they continue on with the title, Everybody's Got Their Stuff. Our stuff appears most clearly in our self-defeating patterns. Practicing these key modules in isolation is just the first step. All the capacities developed through practice in the core modules bear their most profound fruits when confronted with in everyday life. For most integral life practitioners, several of the additional modules are essential as the core modules, are as essential as the core modules. And integral life practice frames creating a life that works as a continuous practice and not an ultimate point. Fulfillment is fleeting. It is possible to say yes to life and to awaken to that which transcends death. That is, saying yes to life while remaining aware that all fulfillments will eventually dissolve. The integral practitioner lives with these paradises, or these paradoxes. So, um, yeah, it's all going to fall back into itself and collapse. The whole universe is going to fizzle out, and let's care about it anyways. Okay. So, anybody need to jump in or have a thought at the moment?
Yeah, saying yes to life. This is the postmodern dilemma, that everything's going to end anyway. And where do we find meaning in this? There is no meaning. And somehow saying yes to life is the way to keep moving forward. And even if there doesn't seem to be any meaning, that's meaning enough.
Meaning what? We don't have any meaning here. You'll have to make your own.
That's right. Oh, no, not that. I just want somebody to tell me.
Okay. So let's take a look at these additional modules beyond the four. And I'm just going to read them off to you just so we get a picture of what's going on. And then we'll jump in. I got a little paragraph about each one, but the additional modules they list are as follows: work, money, time management, communication, intimate relationship, sexuality, family and parenting, community, service, nature, creativity, and will. Okay. Years ago, I took a course and they referred to a concept called the permanent domains of human concern. When you're born into life, what is it that you're going to care about, whether you like it or not? And I think that these are pretty good bullets of that as well. Okay. So here's what I have for work. To be effective at work, we need to exercise will or intention. Work is an opportunity to incarnate responsibility, self-management, time management, communication, interpersonal skills, and leadership. To render service to others and to transmute creative ambitions, to observe and cultivate your capacities and clarify your relationship to power, status, and personal identity. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
A lot more than just making your money and going home. That's for sure. And speaking of which, this is the next topic: money. Your relationship to wealth and money is a distinct practice. It is the practice that usually matters most for security in old age and the opportunity to use money to serve others. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, um, it's no guarantee of security in old age. I want to just add my 2 cents there. Okay, so there's the second um, extra module. Time management is another category. Time is your most precious and limited resource. Your relationship with time can evolve, creating an efficient, free, and balanced system of living while staying in touch with the timeless present. Okay. We can ignore time management, but it's
Okay.
going to catch us. You know? Communication. We almost learn to speak effectively to diverse individuals and groups. Communication requires listening and relationship skills. Intimate relationship. For many, their emotional home base, center of fulfillment, frustration, insight, and growth is intimate relationship. It's the place of fears of abandonment, needs for autonomy, and needs for communication, incorporating hardwired differences and similarities that unite and divide men and women. Traditional marriage and family patterns have been changing in fast-moving postmodern cultures. The path of growth through committed relationship requires both partners to practice intensely, simultaneously, and in relationship to each other. And it can be practiced in both traditional and non-traditional relationships.
Oh, I love that last bit. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot in here. Every sentence is a it requires some sitting with here. So I don't mean to
yeah,
by reading it just saying, and I just typed out the paragraphs, you know. So okay. Sexuality, the very psychoenergetic intensity out of which we were conceived. Sexuality is the very psychoenergetic intensity out of which we were conceived. Wow.
yeah.
Lived consciously in all three bodies. I believe that's subtle, causal, and what's that third one?
Physical.
Okay. Um, the very lived consciously in all three bodies, it can be profound, ecstatic, and transformative. It's always primarily an occasion for embodying intimacy, love, and care. Uh, there's a whole lot of other things that go on in our culture regarding this domain of action.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I would like to, I'm not going to digress now, but it's my personal wish in my life to um, to categorize, to sense the levels of importance of these things of intimacy, love, and care, and contrast them with a lot of other stuff that can come along. You know, everything from whatever other reasons people have sexual experiences, but at the same time, noticing which ones are the the power hitters of importance and articulating that. Community. We are social animals who learn through social feedback. We need to experience ourselves participating with others in communities. We grow through our friendships, relationships with other practitioners, supported by shared values and commitments. I was just in a workshop with Ed talking about uh, my own uh, discovering where I could be accessing more of my community. So this is in my space right now. Service, a direct way to tap into the energy that sustains life and uplifts the spirit. Conscious practice of service with sincere intentionality is the spirit of service. Okay. Not to be confused with the phone company in Colorado's byline, which is the same thing as I recall once Quest was taken over. Okay. Nature. We've got three more of these categories. Nature, that is to say, communing with the natural world, is key to many individuals' integral life practice. It can be profoundly healing and inspiring. In fact, I just want to add here that one new practice I am doing is walking outside for a minute every morning
Mm.
because I read or saw some YouTube that said you got to get that sunlight on your skin and in your eyes first thing just to get and it will work, that your biology will respond to that, as short as that what
Hey,
I just
maybe then
described.
we wouldn't need so much coffee.
Could be. Creativity. Practicing an art requires discipline and surrender, and it can activate aspects of being that rarely surface in ordinary living. Opening
Yeah,
to this creative flow is an inner yoga. For many people, the practice of creativity is a key module essential to their life practice, and it can be central to their integral life practice and one of the gifts they give to the world. I certainly would have a hard time distinguishing my life from this module in many ways. They're
same here.
almost so overlapping. And finally, will. Practice implies a capacity to discipline ourselves. Underlying human endeavor is the exercise of intentionality or will. Your personal will can be approached as a module of its own. Many approaches to personal growth focus on development of personal will. Full maturity means being able to exercise intention with extremely high effectiveness, but without undue stress or attachment to the results. A highly developed will is usually essential to fulfilling one's life purpose. Your basic commitment to practice itself will develop your power of intentionality in all other areas of life. Okay, so with all of these, I just want to take a moment out and check in. Does anyone want to comment on any of these, in particular, these extra domains of integral life practice? Or make a comment about how you experience any of those particularly?
It's too much.
Could you flesh that out?
It's too hard. It's too hard. Oh God.
Well, it's a lot to chew on here. You know, this whole book's a lot to chew on.
That's
Um,
why I keep going back to it. Every
uh,
one of those could be an hour, 2 hour discussion all on its own.
yes, they are, in fact, I would say lines of development.
Yeah.
Huh? I would like when I say I want to um, increase intimacy and I want to expand the possibilities uh, uh, for sexuality in my life. Um, I don't have juice on parenting at this stage of the game. I don't think I ever did really, um, but certainly to keep all these bullets in mind, uh, and and at least go through them and saying, okay, well, if I'm not going to be concerned myself with parenting, my role in life could also be being aware of the parenting responsibilities others have and supporting them in their needs. Okay. Um,
Amen. Yeah, parenting. I was born without a biological clock. I never felt like I needed to have children. I so respect people who do, but one of my shticks is kind of on the back burner for now, but to revalue homemaking and parenting, it got pushed out into the margins with our modern culture. And then with women's lib and postmodernity, it's like raising kids is something you do in your spare time. And I'm going, excuse me. For those who do choose to have children, we need to put parenting back in the center of our socioeconomic models and value systems. So that's one of my little, if I ever get around to it, one of my little crusades. So even though I'm not, just to emphasize your point, Larry, even though I chose not to be a parent of this because I had a choice, because the pill was invented by the time I came of age, I had the choice and I chose not to. But the people who do choose to, they need a lot more support than they're getting. We need to revalue that. So I can, even though I chose not to, I can see the value in it and look for ways to support the people who have chosen that path. Just by way of amplifying and supporting your point, Larry.
Yeah. I personally think that the Industrial Revolution was caused parenting to take a major hit because people went from working beside your family members in the field to where the father's gone all day, and maybe now the mother's gone all day, and it's
Latchkey
delegated
kids,
to
yeah.
other people. So that there,
Amen. Because the home used to be the productive unit, and the people who ran the homemakers were running the productive unit. That's where the food got raised, the cloth got made. We could go off into
right,
hours
and
long on any one of these bullet points.
you're right. And in fact, there will be some discussion later on. They drill in a little bit on levels and lines of parenting. But
Hmm.
before we get to that, they have a discussion here on using the integral framework in daily life. So back to some more generalities here. It says, practicing within an aqual context enhances your lived experience. Oh yeah, for me, seeing
Yeah,
those four squares really helps me put myself in them. Um,
yeah.
the Aqua map illuminates life's evolving richness and depth. Integral theory does not tell you how to practice or how to live. Instead, it offers new perspectives on the practice and life, new possibilities, and new horizons. Integral life practice strives for a balance between theory and practice. The integral life operating system changes you from the inside out.
Ooh,
Okay, all right. Now they talk about viewing additional modules through five integral lenses. Okay, so now we get to have some bullets here. The rest of this chapter is organized using the aqual elements, that is to say, quadrants, levels, lines, states, and types. Okay, so we're now going to take that tool and apply it to this um, list of too many things. Is that reference? Yeah, too much. So let's break it down here. Using the quadrants, taking more perspectives in any given area will deepen your practice in that area. The more perspectives you can hold, the more informed, intelligent, and appropriate choices you can make.
that's easy for them to say.
Uh, Leaders who push the edges of their discipline do so by taking perspectives with more depth and more span than most others. A good map can reveal blind spots. Knowing where to look and what questions to ask are huge advantages. Boy, Ed, we sure saw that with
Wow.
that gal that that knew how to listen to us describe dreams and drill in because she had the distinctions to know where to look. Um, that's a line that's just appearing for me. A line of development
Oh,
called dream analysis.
oh, you were on
Yeah.
that integral life thing with, oh gosh, what's her name? Gal from Austria. Was that what
Yes.
you were just doing?
Yes.
Awesome.
Ed, you're off the. You're muted.
Oh,
Okay, so the work module, they go back to that one specifically, shows up in all four quadrants. Uh, I think that was almost an aside. That might have been a sidebar or something, but I have it in caps here, so or bolded out. So something to think about there.
I have to make a phone call, so I'm not going to pay attention for a couple minutes.
Okie doke. Okay, so levels and lines of parenting. Parenting is one of the ultimate integral practices. Every level of child development demands a corresponding level of parenting. The practice of integral parenting is an attempt to keep in step with a sprouting human being. Understanding the unique psychograph of your child is important to integral parenting. Skillful awareness of levels and lines implies meeting children where they're at while creating conditions that help them develop to higher levels. Really super bullet points here. That just
Yeah.
expanded my idea of parenting and being a child as well, you know. Discipline is an act of love. Children need clear rules, boundaries, and structures. Over time, they'll be more disoriented and upset if they don't have clarity about their role and expectations.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. Now, to me, that is what I would call a main claim of the authors. It's debatable. Some people might say
Mhm.
discipline is
Mhm.
unnecessary and cruel or something like that.
Yeah.
And
That isn't.
children don't need boundaries or they get stifled. I mean, there's arguments about that, but
Hmm.
I think these are integral people taking an integral stance about parenting. And so it behooves us to examine this at least to the stand from to me to the point of saying I I agree and I will adjust based on my agreement or I don't agree and now I'm arguing with those four guys. So but I'm not. I personally have everything to learn in
Yeah.
that area. So
You know, I have some life experience behind that one. I'm solidly behind this. I quibble with some things Ken Wilber says, but I don't think I've taken big exception to anything in this book.
yeah, right. Well, me too. Okay, so on from there. States of practice. Conscious living requires awareness and acceptance of all passing stages. The paradox of effort and acceptance. I'm not sure I know what that means. Conscious living requires awareness, yes, and
Mhm.
acceptance of all passing stages. Oh, okay. Um, I have to accept that my body is different than it used to be. I lose weight a lot slower, things like that. I get sleepier for longer periods of time, blah, 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 that stuff. The paradox of effort and acceptance. So I do have to accept that I can't be a marathon runner uh, or the way other people might who are younger. Okay. So now there is a sidebar in the book called Using States for Creativity. Innovators bring a new perspective to what already exists. They make new connections. Practicing creativity involves seeing meaningful connections where others don't. Viewed from this perspective, the integral framework is a map for innovation. Okay. So they give 4 bullet points here for how to do that. Or what does it look like? You might say the answer to the question, what does it look like to practice creativity in terms of making these connections? What is it? How could we talk about creativity, the process, generically? Wow, okay. Well, they say there's 4 things that happen: absorption, incubation, illumination, and evaluation. Okay. Absorption is learning about what you want to create in. Okay, you've got to jump into the soup. You got it. Okay. Whatever your um, vehicle. What's the word for all of the different creative endeavors categories, but you got to jump in. Uh, incubation says change your context to activate different dimensions of mind and brain. It's gross, subtle, and causal. Okay. So after you throw yourself in the soup, you get out and let it soak in.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then illumination they flesh out by referring to it as creative insights. They actually mention three places where it happens most often: in the bathroom, in the bedroom, and on the bus. Okay. There's maybe one or two more. Um, but
Out walking in a natural environment for me.
sure, sure, yeah, yeah. But there it is the aha
Uh-huh.
that comes after we let it sit and cook. And then after the aha comes, after illumination is evaluation. Is the idea feasible? Is it useful? How can I develop it or implement it? To me, this is like I write it down and the next day I go, was it just the gummy or is this really a good idea? Okay. Uh, so, okay. So I really enjoyed having those 4 points about creativity. Um, oh, and here comes Tiffany with the old link, right? Okay. Tiffany, we are on the let's see, the second to the last page of my notes on page 4 of 5, 4 of 5. And we have just finished. We're at the bottom where the double line is across the bottoms of the page. Okay. So we just finished talking about the stages of creativity: absorption, incubation, illumination, and evaluation. Okay. All right. Um, do you want to interject anything here, or should I just continue, Tiff?
Oh, please continue.
Okay. All
I
right.
just wanted to make it for at least part of it, but I
Oh
couldn't
yeah, I'm
find
glad you're
anything.
here. Yeah. All right. So now we go into living your types. Now, so, and it's the subtitle for this is the horizontal differences.
Mhm.
So we now have to consider the concept of types as it relates to um, our own work modules, both the the core modules and these ones that are applicable to us in particular. Um, so one easy one is masculine and feminine types. Uh, there are, it's not quite Myers-Briggs, but it's a way of looking at the world and the differences we might have. And there's other more complex types. Your practice style will differ depending upon your type. Oh, so how people do stuff can is different depending upon the types that they have. Okay. The goal is to leverage the gifts of your dominant orientation while keeping an eye out for ways to embody strengths of less dominant orientations. I might have my masculine, let's get her done stuff, um, but I could also look to, and how can we all do that together?
Mhm.
I'm superimposing what I think
Mhm.
is my femininity there. So okay. Okay. So the goal is to leverage the gifts and keep an eye out for embodying strengths of the less dominant orientations. Naturalness and authenticity are possible when your behavior is congruent with your typology. Okay. So if I'm acting like my INTJ self, if that's what I am, I haven't checked lately, but that is a way of accessing naturalness and authenticity. Hadn't thought of that. Okay. Well, we're doing good here. We got 15 minutes left and one more page. So, um, and there's two topics that we have left, uh, affirmations and practicing perfection. So, as it concerns affirmations, they claim that affirmations are a power tool for actualizing desired changes. Affirmations are a powerful practice of directed intentionality. Speaking intention is a way of aligning with the future you've committed to. Repeating your affirmation will help you recognize practice moments and choose actions in alignment with your intentions. An affirmation practice begins with a clear decision that a new reality will come to be. You draw a line in the sand and declare, "This will be." You generate an alignment of all the levels of your being with your intention. You must care about it. It must be something you're invested in. Speak it with certainty, a commitment to your whole being, a commitment of your whole being. Once you have written the affirmation, the actual practice is to say it every day. So there's creating the affirmation and doing the affirmation. And they give some 9 guidelines for an affirmation practice, which are, I think, right on target. And they are: make sure that your uh, affirmation has these qualities. It's in the present tense, it's phrased positively, it's short and specific, stated in the first person, it's believable, you must care about it, you must repeat it, and you must act on it. And I don't know if this is a must, but it's more of a suggestion. Experiment with them. Okay. So, uh, anybody want to say anything about affirmations or your experiences using them, frustrations with them?
I have a lot to say about it, so maybe we can come back to this after we finished, because you got
Okay.
one more important paragraph to go.
All right. So let's do the last paragraph and then we'll finish up talking about affirmations till we wind up. So the final concept here, practicing perfection. All our efforts to make our lives work are ultimately doomed.
Ah,
We don't need to practice to achieve perfection. We just need to wake up to the perfection that's already the case. Nothing needs to be achieved in order for this moment to be 100% full of radiant suchness. This is the paradox of practice. Everything is always absolutely okay, just exactly as it is and as we are. And we are nonetheless called always to more goodness, truth, and beauty. Through integral life practice, we rest as who we really are, while also aspiring to be who we know we can become. The great search for spiritual perfection is a colossal impossibility because the enlightened self is ever present as the witness. You do not become enlightened, you just confess that you always already are. We savor the perfection of the present and listen to the evolutionary urge to grow. All integral life practice modules represent areas of relative development within the absolute context of ever-present awareness. All practices take place within perfection.
Wow. Yeah, that last bit is I'm not sure I'd have to go read the full book again. I don't recall that last part quite landing, but what the brilliance of this book is that it takes these very, very deep principles. Like this is some of the deepest teachings of Buddhism, for instance, but translated into terms that make practical sense to practical people. You don't have to be a deep spiritual seeker to get the benefit. But that last period, that's big. This is like the Buddhist teaching of the two truths. There's absolute reality and there's relative reality, and we live in both. And so that, yeah, that last period, that's among the reasons this book keeps knocking my socks off whenever I go back and reread it.
Yeah, I'm sure that wasn't a paraphrase. I wouldn't have come up with that myself. But when I do these cliff notes here, like I started on it a few weeks ago, and then I came back to it about a week ago to finish it up. And I started typing it out instead of by hand. And as I did that, I started looking and said, oh, I wrote this other stuff down here before, and I didn't put it in the typed version. So that I have to be careful as what's important might be what's important that day. You
Yeah,
know, so
yeah.
and maybe that's and whether something hits me or not, like you're saying, is also a matter of uh review and rereading on different days and different moods brings forth different things. Has anyone heard the story Candide, Voltaire?
Uh, this is the best of all possible worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like I was listening to Candide there at first. I do embody what it says, but I also part of me was going, it's perfection, the best of all possible world. Everything is really perfect. Sounded pretty new agey to me, you know. It's pretty scapegoaty. Uh,
Yeah.
Anybody else get that hit?
In general, I think that's my anarchist coming out, I guess. That you don't want to go too utopian, There's always something that, the in the desire for perfection or idealism, what do we deny? What, then burrows underneath. I think we're in a
Hmm.
process of uncovering that shadow now,
Yes.
all of the Americanism and kind of imperialist, like, let's dominate the world, not recognizing how that totality, you know, um, distorts how people see themselves and how we then, I don't know, take action, how we then even see our purpose or connect our purpose to the things that are less ideal, maybe. I don't know.
Hmm.
Very fresh in the thought, but
Mhm.
um, yeah, no,
Yeah,
thank you.
that makes sense in terms of just going back to the previous thing, the affirmations and that last number nine.
Mhm.
Having gone through steps 1 through 8, and we're speaking it, we're acting on it, but then the last one is experimenting, and that I think that speaks to the point you just made, Tiffany, that we're going to find out that it doesn't work the way our lovely utopian aspiration had wanted. We're going to bump up against some stuff that isn't in alignment with the way we thought it was. So we have to adjust and go back. And so I kind of read while you were reading this, Larry, I was looking at that number nine, thinking going back and fine tuning or changing if necessary. So, this is kind of a negative way to put it. One of the classic books on warfare is No Battle Plan Survives First Contact with the Enemy. I think that was Clausewitz. Yeah, we make our plans and then reality happens and then we revise and come back again. So
Or
we keep fine tuning our affirmations
as Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a plan until they get hit.
until they get hit. Yeah. But then you get up off the mat again, and you see, what did I learn from this? And adjust.
Did you have
Yeah,
any other things you wanted to flesh out regarding affirmations here?
oh man, any one of these paragraphs could be a long discussion. I don't do affirmations myself because my spiritual path is not like Ken Wilber's. It's more one of surrender and service and love. But so it's like what my fine tuning of affirmations is to try to define to myself as truthfully as I can what I really want, and then I kind of send it off to my higher self, whatever that is, and then not and then let go of attachment to the result. And I noticed they mentioned it here. This is spiritually very deep. Let's see, where is it in that first paragraph? That basically it was somewhere in here where you choose what we are committing ourselves, what I am committing myself to really try to make happen. That's the effort. But then letting go of attachment to the self, that again is a very deep spiritual practice. Not being attached, you do our best in good faith and not be attached to the result. That's when we learn to kind of escape the ego claim. I want it to be this way, and I'm going to throw a tantrum until I get my way. This is part of growing up spiritually. And let's see what, oh gosh, there was so much in here. There's so much in all of this. And phrasing the affirmation positively, because this is something I learned from some of the psychotherapists I've read, plus my guru. Our deep psychers don't hear the word no. So if I say to a 7-year-old, don't punch your brother in the face, what he hears is punch my brother in the face. So that's what subliminally and not even conscious makes it okay, okay, and he may really okay, don't punch my brother in the. What's being emphasized is punching in the face. You say, be nice to your brother. So one of the things I learned, and then my guru said that too, when he was really joking and he really, really, really wanted us to get a point, he would say, don't read this poster. And then this is how we conduct ourselves in the lunch line, for instance. And everybody would laugh and stop and read the poster. Right. So to put this is actually very deep, a very deep understanding of how the deeper layers, the deeper non-conscious layers of our psyches work. I mean, this is powerful and profound. It's a lot of deep expertise that goes into these very simple guidelines. So that's one of my burbles. So among the reasons I keep coming back to this book.
Mhm. Well, we will be coming back to this book one more time. And right in time to finish up before the Icon Conference,
Yeah.
we will be
Ooh,
doing Chapter 10. And actually, I just want to say Chapter 10 uh, is the last official chapter. But after that, there's another chapter called The Unique Self. It's only about a half a dozen pages, but it's not numbered the way the other ones are. So we got numbers 1 through 10. Every other area gets a chapter title, but not the unique self at the end. So I just want to say, if you guys can make the last one in May, um, uh, it's actually 2 sections, the final 2 sections of the book.
my
And
favorite part of the whole book.
I'm glad you said that because there's a lot of graphs in here and it didn't look appealing at all to me, but now you've inspired me. Uh, so with that in mind, does anyone have any other comments or things to share?
Will you all be at Icon this year? Will I see you all there?
Not me, I don't think I'm going.
Okay.
Tiffany, I know
Uh,
you'll be
I
there.
know Tiffany's going to be there.
Better be there.
And I will be one of the presenters this year.
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
really excited about that. And that's right. I do see you on that page, right?
Yeah.
Um, so, okay. Has anyone gotten a notice yet as to what day or time these things might be happening?
Yeah, there's an official schedule now. I know exactly when and where.
You do.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
tell me what?
to those of us who are presenters, they've sent us a preliminary. It's still, I mean, it's still being adjusted, but those of us who are presenters should have received a preliminary schedule. Did you
Okay,
get one,
great, good.
Tiffany?
I'm not on, I haven't even,
You're not.
no,
Yeah.
not presented.
Didn't you get one, Larry? Because you're on it.
No, I haven't been getting anything about it, but I see my description of my presentation on the Icon website.
Right.
Uh,
Who did
so
it come from, Karen? He might need to reach out.
Tom may have sent me one separately because I've been doing some other negotiating between Icon and Cosmos, and so I'm on one of the inside tracks. But they are starting to flesh out the schedule serious, so you should be hearing from them soon,
yeah,
Larry.
and it's not an issue for me. It's just a curiosity. I noticed that everyone is listed as doing the entire conference every day. In other words, May 28th through 31, 8 a.m. Everybody's
On
listed that
repeat.
way.
We're
Yeah.
just gonna-
So, but anyway, so when they get around to it, I'm sure they'll tell me what
Yeah.
my spot is.
We're probably waiting until they have more of a final. They're still massaging it.
Yeah. Okay, gang. Thanks
Thank
for hanging out.
Thank you.
See
This
you
is
next
fun as
time.
Thank
always.
you.
Great.
See you
Okay.
next
Bye-bye.
month, here
What?
and in person. See you next
Right.
month.
Yes, yes.
Bye bye.
All right, bye.